Imagine this. You wake up every single morning and the first thing you see is a pineapple-colored nightmare you never asked for. Not because you live in it, no, that horror belongs to your neighbor. You live right next door, forced to endure the endless cheer of SpongeBob SquarePants, the sponge who thinks life is one big theme park. But you're not him. You're Squidward Tentacles, the human equivalent of a Monday morning, if Monday mornings could play the clarinet badly. Your life isn't exciting, adventurous, or even tolerable. It's a slow-motion car crash that never ends. Every day is exactly the same. You open your eyes, sigh, and immediately regret still being alive. And the worst part? The universe insists on reminding you of your misery by surrounding you with two of the most unbearable neighbors in cartoon history. Squidward isn't just a character. He's the cruel reality of adulthood disguised as a children's cartoon. He's proof that even in a world where burgers grow underwater and sponges laugh at everything, someone still has to be depressed. And you, unlucky soul, are him. You are the one person in Bikini Bottom who knows the truth. Happiness is a scam, talent is wasted, and dreams are just setups for disappointment. But let's not get too deep yet. First, let's see how this tragedy started. You didn't stand a chance. From the very moment you came into existence, the universe looked down at you, shook its head, and said, "Yeah, this one's not going to make it." Because you weren't born as a hero or even as a lovable sidekick. You were born as Squidward Tentacles, the punchline to a joke no one else is in on. Look at you. A massive head glued onto a body so thin it looks like it might snap in half if someone sneezes. That permanent scowl etched into your face isn't just an expression, it's destiny. You were never designed to smile, only to suffer. As a child, you probably thought greatness was waiting for you. You imagined standing under a spotlight, clarinet in hand, with an adoring crowd begging for more. But reality had other plans. Reality handed you a clarinet that sounds like a dying goose and an audience that runs for cover. And here's the cruel twist. You're self-aware. Unlike SpongeBob, who lives in blissful ignorance, or Patrick, who thinks a nap is a personality trait, you actually know your life is a disaster. You can see the prison bars long before you step inside them. So yes, your suffering started at birth. But don't worry, it's about to get much, much worse. Because childhood delusions fade fast. And the moment you clock in at the Krusty Krab, your life officially becomes a prison sentence. Congratulations, Squidward. You're officially employed. Not at some glamorous concert hall, not in a chic gallery surrounded by fellow artists, but in the grease-stained, soul-crushing fast food dungeon known as the Krusty Krab. Every day, you drag yourself behind the cash register not because you care about customer service, but because capitalism has chained you there. Your uniform? A hat that looks like a middle school craft project. Your reward? Minimum wage? Maximum despair. And let's not forget your coworkers. On one side, you've got SpongeBob, an endless fountain of toxic positivity, flipping burgers with the energy of a golden retriever on caffeine. On the other side, Mr. Krabs, a greedy crustacean who treats you less like an employee and more like an easily replaceable cog in his money-printing machine. Your job is simple. Press buttons, take orders, and watch your soul evaporate one customer at a time. But of course, it's never that easy. You're constantly interrupted by SpongeBob's manic laughter, the screech of spatulas, and the unshakable feeling that you could be doing literally anything else with your life. And yet, you stay, day after day, chained to that register, dreaming of music, art, and respect, while serving grease patties to ungrateful fish who don't even bother to remember your name. But the job isn't even the worst part. No, the true torture comes when you leave work and step back into your neighborhood, because that's where your real tormentors live, right next door. When you finally crawl home from the Krusty Krab, exhausted and hollow, you might think, just maybe, you'll find peace in your own house. But no. Because you live sandwiched between the two worst neighbors in the history of existence, SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick Star. On one side, a sponge who treats life like a never-ending theme park. On the other, a starfish whose brain is basically an empty shell filled with seawater. Together, They form a nightmare duet, two forces of chaos dedicated to the destruction of your sanity. They knock on your door at dawn. They giggle outside your window at midnight. They drag you into their fun, whether you want it or not. And spoiler, you never want it. Their laughter isn't joy. To you, it's torture. It's the sound of your peace being ripped to shreds, one high-pitched giggle at a time. Imagine trying to practice your clarinet while SpongeBob is outside blowing bubbles, screaming about jellyfishing, and Patrick is smashing rocks together like a caveman. You're not just annoyed, you're under siege. Your house isn't a home. It's a bunker, and the worst part? No matter how many times you yell, slam the door, or pray for silence, it never stops. Because they don't hear your pain, they just think you're part of the fun. But even outside this circus of neighbors, there's a deeper tragedy, your dream. The one thing you thought would save you, spoiler alert, it won't. You've told yourself 1,000 times, I'm not just a cashier, I'm an artist. And in your mind, that's true. You see yourself as a misunderstood genius, a tortured soul whose brilliance is far too advanced for the simpletons around you. The problem? Nobody else agrees. Your clarinet isn't music. It's a weapon. Every note you play sounds less like art and more like a dying seagull being strangled by seaweed. Audiences don't applaud, they evacuate. Your so-called masterpieces in painting and sculpture? Let's just say they belong in a recycling bin, not a museum. And yet you cling to the dream. You put on little recitals for yourself, imagining crowds of admirers, critics writing rave reviews, and statues of your face in every corner of Bikini Bottom. But in reality, your only fans are SpongeBob and Patrick. And even their applause feels less like admiration and more like mockery. It's not that you never had potential, it's that the universe decided to make you the patron saint of wasted potential. Your art doesn't save you. It humiliates you. It reminds you that no matter how high you aim, gravity will always drag you back down into the mud. So what happens when the dream dies, but you're still stuck living? That's the cruelest part of all. Because Squidward Tentacles doesn't get a happy ending. He gets irony. And after all this, you'd hope Squidward would at least find peace, right? Wrong. Squidward Tentacles never gets peace. He's stuck in an endless loop of disappointment. His dreams crushed, his art ignored, his music classified as torture under the Geneva Convention. Meanwhile, SpongeBob laughs, Patrick drools, and Mr. Krabs counts his money, while Squidward just stares at the ceiling, wondering why he was cursed with self-awareness. And that's the cruelest irony. In a world full of happy idiots, the only one who understands how bad life is the one who suffers the most. But here's the kicker. Squidward isn't just a cartoon character. He's a mirror. He's you at your worst day at work, stuck in endless meetings, annoyed by loud neighbors, and realizing your dreams may never come true. So why does it suck to be Squidward? Because he's the only adult in Bikini Bottom. And adulthood, my friend, is overrated. And if you also feel like the universe is laughing at your pain, well, at least hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Because unlike Squidward, maybe you can catch a break.